The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, aka the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua. Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. My name is Jasmine, and I am your host. As usual, I'm very excited to be here with you guys tonight. So our original guest had, life on life's terms, had some stuff happen. And so the beautiful Miss Clara stepped up to the plate like right away out of nowhere, which is really cool because to me, this is divine intervention.
Totally.
And so I, as a human, had my original plan and the universe was like, we got another plan.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for tonight's show because I am a firm believer that everything in life happens for a reason. So you are here tonight to deliver some kind of message.
That's right. Here we go.
I'm really excited about it. So so Claire is someone that I consider a friend. We might not see each other all the time, but someone that has this beautiful energy to her and is very open and is really good friends with my best friend.
Yes.
So we are cross paths. So I'm really excited to have you on the show.
I'm excited to be here.
And so the show obviously is a show about like addiction and trauma and although we tend to focus on addiction just because that's my own personal story, that's truly not what this platform is for. It's for anyone who's made it out of any kind of struggle that can give any kind of hope or encouragement or not even their own personal struggle. Like we've had loved ones on, people who have lost their loved ones to suicide. We've had parents on to their loved ones have been lost to addiction or not even lost, parents telling their story of what it's like to have a child in active addiction. So I'm really here with you tonight. And before the show, you were like, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, it's your show, man. I have no idea. So what do you want to talk about?
There's so many things because I was here at some point, I think it was last year, and it's just so crazy to see how far, like when a certain amount of time goes by, how far you've come.
Yeah.
And kind of like the different perspectives that you have and the different kind of like lens that you look at life through. Which I think is really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's tough. Life is tough right now, I feel like, for a lot of people. But just knowing what I know now, especially having gone through addiction and stuff like that, there's absolutely nothing that I can't make it through, which feels so good to say. Definitely easier said than done. So I don't know, I feel like tonight it would be a cool time to talk about sort of like, because when I came in to the program and stayed, I was very fearful. I was very scared of like, where do I go from here? Who am I? What do I want? What can I do? What can't I do? And like all these questions about myself, the person who I've lived in this body for, at that point, 24 years, because I got sober at 24. And I really didn't know a lot about myself and just growing and healing and doing. Are we allowed to talk about AA on here?
We can talk about like AA as a resource for people.
Yeah, okay.
If anyone on the show were to be a member of AA, they just can't talk about
totally.
that.
Yeah.
Nope,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But just kind of like using those resources to grow and to become the person that we know and our higher powers of whatever understanding know us to be. So I don't know, it's kind of vague, but yeah.
Well, for being someone that has, known you for a couple years now, and so I don't think I have like seen you in person for almost a year. And immediately the first thing I noticed is that you walked like with more confidence.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I got up close to you and you're shining very bright.
Thank
Your skin is
you.
very bright and your eyes are so bright, and just how you carry
Yes.
yourself. I'm just like, wow, Clara is in a much different space as a
Yeah.
person than she was, because you can tell a lot about a person just by how they carry themselves. If you're like into that and you have the awareness of that, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything that you carry on the inside shows on the outside,
Yeah.
whether I know it or not. Because when I was actively using, I was hanging my head everywhere I went, whether I was, just at the beginning or in the middle of my suffering or at the end. I mean, I remember this one person did tell me, the light in your eyes is not there anymore. It's gone. You don't have that glow, which I think everybody has when they feel fulfilled and feel like they have a purpose. I was told I didn't have that. I didn't even want to look at myself in the mirror, so I couldn't really tell for myself. But now it's like, I think there's a certain amount of clarity when you have reached the other side of any kind of suffering. I was talking to my mom today about how, I don't want to expose her because she's very private, but she's just going through some struggles right now. And I said, Mom, like, you just have to find your outlet. You have to find your resource that will carry you through these struggles. And whenever you're feeling these struggles, that is growth. All of this pain, all of this change. It's like when you have growing pains in your body, when you're teething as a baby, it's like everything that is worth it and means something and that has some kind of impact on your life that's going to change you for the better requires a little bit, or sometimes a lot, given your situation, of struggle and suffering. So I was just kind of chatting with her, and she's like, well, you know what your struggle was, and you did get through it. I'm like, yes, this is true, but I embraced my struggle very I didn't want to, it was very reserved, but I did, and I got through the suffering, and I'm sure I'll suffer again. But the important thing to remember for anybody who's going through a hard time is this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And we'll always get stronger through it. We'll always have some kind of resilience that we didn't have before we went through it,
Yeah, that's crazy. When we first got here, you were like, how are you? And I was like, I'm wavy.
Yeah.
know?
Waves of life.
Because like this too will pass, and like it's just like emotionally and like internally, like things are rocky.
Right.
And so like where I'm at in my recovery today is like I know that I don't have to react to that, right?
Yes.
Like I can like sit with that discomfort, and for me, like where I go to find like the stillness and clarity is like through meditation.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? And then you get answers, and then you need to take action.
Yeah.
But
Oh my God.
I don't need to be reactive and pick up a drug or do some kind of self-sabotaging or self-harming behavior to get out of that discomfort that I'm feeling. I can just ride that wave.
Yes, exactly. And it's so important to learn how to ride that wave. And I feel like, maybe just because I shut my mind out for so long, but I feel like no one really told me about that.
Yeah.
Like when you're having a hard time, you're having a hard time. It sucks. Just feel it. It'll be. I guess people did tell me, this won't last as long as you think. One of the things that went through my head, I remember because I went through a halfway house in Lowell, all women's halfway house, state-run facility. One of the things that saved my life, it was tough. So what I had to tell myself all the time was, this is temporary. This is temporary. But it took, a lot of, smashing of my ego to be like, you just have to pray and understand to yourself that this is temporary and it's not going to last forever, So to your point, as long as we find ways that help us in a healthy way to sort of ride that wave, like find your boat,
Yeah.
like find your boat that you feel safe, that you feel comfortable, that you feel protected, whether it's like a sailboat or a motorboat where you just want to go through those waves and just get it over with. Maybe it's a workout, maybe it's meditation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's screaming into a pillow. I saw a TikTok where a therapist was like, scream into your pillow, it works. And I was like, that's awesome for the people who feel like that's a good outlet for them, Yeah, said a lot there.
I went to a oh goodness, it was like a 3 years ago now, who knows. But I went to a workshop which I didn't even know what it was. I was invited to at the time. And so anyways, you go through all these like different scenarios in this workshop, and you don't realize that what you're getting to at the very end, like they lead up to it so well, is like honor your truth. And like don't let anyone take that from you. But anyways, one of the things they had us do was sit in the room silently, and then they were like, now let it all out. And I can feel that I want to yell. Like I can feel it there, but I couldn't do it. And there was this woman in there, and she was just screaming bloody murder. And I was like, I wish I could do that.
Yes.
I wish I could just do that, because I feel that.
Yeah,
So when you said scream into the pillow, I was like, wow, I don't think I could do that, but I wish
know.
that I could.
Totally. But maybe it's like what's going on inside your mind, you know, a better way for you to channel that just personally for you is through silence and through stillness, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things that I've picked up recently is doing yoga, which,
I love yoga.
yes, me too. And at first I really didn't want to do yoga because, like,
We talked about yoga last time you were on the show.
did we?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Do you remember what did we say about it? I can't remember.
I just remember we were talking about yoga because I think I had started exploring with yoga,
Yes.
and you know, more recently I've gotten more dedicated with practicing yoga.
Yes.
However, I'm still like not completely committed to it,
Yeah,
you know, but
same.
I practice yoga a couple times a week, and
Yes.
it's crazy. You go into yoga and I leave yoga, like, and it's like I'm sitting in a whole new body, and I can't explain to you how, but like there is tension, there is stress, there is just negative energy that's in my body, and when I leave yoga, it's no longer there.
No, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I feel like, and I was very hesitant to develop this mindset at first because I thought it was so cliche.
And trendy, like yoga's trendy right now. Yeah.
But I feel like if you find your little niche of the like ways you can express yourself physically, for a lot of people it's yoga, and for me it's the breathing, and it's the like I'll light my roommate gave me this little incense thing. It's like Palo Santo, I think, and I light it, and for some reason it's so cleansed. Like you just have to find little things.
I burn it every morning.
You do?
Yes, every morning.
Oh my God, what is it about that? It's so funny. It's so simple.
It's funny because me and my fiance are just like complete different. We're so like opposites attract is literally us. Like I'm loud, I'm expressive, he's quiet, he's introverted.
Yep.
I like to try all these new things. He likes the comfort and safety of home.
Yep.
I love crystals, I love sage, I like yoga. He hates all of that. So I literally spent like I shampooed the carpets, like scrubbed the house today, and I went out and I got we have like wax pots.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought like sage scented wax pots, and he came home and the first thing he said was, the house smells terrible. I was like,
oh no.
Okay, well I shampooed all the carpets.
Okay. Well, that's kind of, I identify with that because my boyfriend Kyle and I are the same. We're very much opposite. And that's such a journey within itself, you know, to like be so close with someone and have that intimate relationship, but kind of have your differences and say, oh, well, you know, today we can do something that you want to do, and like tomorrow we'll do something I want to do. So that's funny that, you know, you bring that up because it's all about like exploring things that work for you and, you know, accepting and working with things that don't work with your partner or your roommate or your family or whoever it is, just coexisting. That was a little bit of a tangent, but I'm just, I don't know. My mind's been crazy these days, like everybody.
You look great.
Oh,
You're shining bright.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was not always easy for Mason and I to coexist together.
Yeah.
Because we started dating in early recovery.
Yep.
We did like exactly what they said not to do.
Right. Yeah.
And I had thought that I did so good because I waited until I was 6 months sober to get into a relationship, which for me that was huge, right? Because I had never done that before.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm 6 months sober, like, and you know, when you first start dating someone, it's amazing at first because there are so many like outside things that like feel good and so validating.
Yeah.
And then that newness wears off, and you're like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I'm still stuck with me in this relationship, like, you know, and I'm
Yes.
still here in this relationship. So it took a lot of growing and discomfort, and you know, we had to like separate twice to find ourselves on individual basis to come back together to like figure out how we do this thing. But like we kept gravitating back towards each other, you know, like there was something else there. And so, you know, now I'd like to say that we actually have like a pretty healthy relationship where we're two, you know, individuals, and we're very different individuals, but like we come together with like such common ground, you know, like we're both highly motivated, and like, you know, like we're looking into buying a house right now, which is really cool. And so we just got engaged, and so we're planning a wedding, you know, and so he has 2 boys, and they're 6 now. And so, you know, it's like because I could never have kids, so it's really cool to like something that my whole life I was like, all right, like I have accepted like I'm never gonna have kids. So like as a woman, I feel like it's we're here to procreate, you know what I mean? And so like there's like a piece of you as like a woman, and so like I never entertained that, like I'm never gonna have kids. I was really career focused, like I'm going to be like a business professional woman. And so now there are these children in my life, and which I had never opened myself up to plan for that. And I'm like, okay, so like I'm navigating that now, and it's really exciting, and kids are so loving.
Yes. Oh my God, they are.
They're so loving, like all the time. They're like, so I will like literally I will open up the door, and the first thing they say to me all the time, I'm hungry. Like, I haven't even stepped a foot in the door yet.
Right. That's because I'm a nanny too.
Yeah.
So there is a certain purity and innocence around kids.
Yeah.
And the girls that I nanny for are 5, 3, and the baby just turned 11 months. And to be around that, like, it's so easy for them to feel joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've always gravitated towards that. But just, you know, what you're saying and what you're talking about, trying to like figure it out along the way. We always do.
Yeah.
We always, I mean, as long as we have our own best interests in mind, which is a lesson that I've had to learn. You know, I can't live for other people. I have to live for myself. It is such a way. I'm a Pisces. No, I mean, it has a little bit to do with it, but I'm very like, to a fault, like obsessed with what other people think and how other people feel. So I'll try to.
That's an attribute of a Pisces?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're like very emotional.
Really?
Like the water sign, like very fluid, but also like extremely empathetic. So like if you're having a bad time, or somebody I love is having a bad time, like I feel like I can feel that.
Yes. Yep.
So, you know, if somebody in my life is going through something, I kind of just have to, and this is something that I've definitely learned in my recovery along the way, because I've, you know, struggled so many times not doing it the right way. I have to just support them as much as I can, you know, and make sure I'm there for myself among all other things, you know. So trying to find that balance of like the career and the family and the relationships with people. Like when we come into recovery from addiction, like a blank map, like name all of the countries in the world. Like I have no idea where to start. Just had no clue. So I think the important thing is to remember for the people who are watching, maybe need some like advice or words of wisdom, like all of those things will come.
Yeah.
They will all come, and one might come before the other. It was funny because I was explaining this to my sister the other day. She's 20, in her early 20s, and she's in grad school, and she's definitely finding a lot of the career stuff, but she feels like that's it. And she's like, I think that I'm just really discouraged because I don't really have anyone that I can share in my life with. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That is a crappy feeling. Like, you know, but at the end of the day, Libby, like it will all fall into place, because there will be little things in life, whether you believe it's your higher power or the spirit of the universe or something protecting you, nudging you in a way that you're supposed to go. Like, you know, whether it's in your behaviors, whether it's in your everyday life, whether it's in your routine, it can be anything. If you know, be vulnerable to the universe and vulnerable within yourself, even though it doesn't feel good, I feel like you can allow yourself to be sort of pushed in the right direction by life, eventually, you know, getting all of those things that everybody deserves. Everybody deserves to be happy and have everything, you know. Sometimes it comes with its challenges, but at the end of the day, like, everything we have is what we have. And as long as, in my experience, as long as I'm grateful for it, I haven't picked up since.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just amazing. So
Something that came to me when you were sharing on that is, so when I first got sober, I had like mapped out, you know, you talked about like that blank canvas. Well, like,
Yeah.
I'm a Virgo. So
ooh.
yeah, so everything, I have to have boxes for everything. And like
Yeah.
everything has to be like super. So I had like
Yep.
mapped out like the next 5 years of my life, you know,
Wow.
while I was in treatment, like what everything was going to look like.
Very
And
organized.
yeah, and like, thank God none of those things happened.
Mm-hmm.
You
Isn't that
know?
funny?
Yeah, like,
Isn't that
thank God-
funny how it works?
Thank God none of those things happened. And the universe, God, I don't even know, was like, no, like,
You're selling yourself so short.
Yes.
And so, like, what I try and do now, because I'm like, I get up at 4 a.m. to like sit in meditation, and I'd like to sit in stillness for a really, really, really long time.
Good for you.
And so what I like to do is just like remind myself, and like when I'm talking to God, is like, you know, like, just use me. Like, I don't know what you have in store for me, but like, just like use me
for whatever you see fit for me.
Mhm.
And when I do that, like, life is so much better.
Yes.
And when I'm rushing through trying to be like, okay, like, literally my plans when I left rehab was I was going to live in my mom's spare bedroom, which is just this little itty bitty tiny bedroom in Pittsfield, New Hampshire. And I was going to work at a gas station and like maybe find some boy to take hostage to be my boyfriend.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my God, my story was very similar.
And like, thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I was going with all of that. But with all that being said,
Yeah.
if I just let life flow and I let energy come through me and from me, and you know, and I recharge my energy as well, like, it just gets way better.
Absolutely.
Way better than I could have ever planned.
Absolutely. And it's cool too, because like I said at the beginning, it's cool how our perspectives change. And it's cool, like, you know, and so I've always sold myself short. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I went through college and somehow I graduated, and like, you know, definitely left a path of wreckage behind me. You know, I'm not proud of it. But I do have a degree, and I got through that, you know, and in active alcoholism and active addiction. I'm not sure how I did, but you know, when I dug myself into the ground with this disease, I really came out with such a lack of understanding of my own confidence and what I was capable of.
Yeah.
I really thought that all I could do was just reception, front desk. That's what I've been doing since I graduated college. And it's like admin stuff is that's my cap. That's like my future. That's where it's going. And that is just so not true.
Isn't it so funny how different people could be? Because I'm like the opposite. Like, I really need to be humbled a lot.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm gonna lead the world. Let's
oh my
go.
God. Well,
Yeah.
like, that's ambition. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because and we can bounce off each other. Like, I'm like I said, an extreme empath, and like I will drop what I'm doing for somebody else and help them out. Not saying that you don't do that, but it's like that's almost my instinct. You know what I mean? Like,
It's really funny. And this is how I know that God is here with us. So today I was like scrolling Facebook, right,
Yeah.
mindlessly, and it was like, oh, like compatible signs. And so I read on Pisces and Virgo.
oh my God.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
That is so funny.
Yeah. And it said that we are a very compatible sign because where my strengths are your weakness and your weaknesses, or your strengths are my weaknesses. And so it was like we make a very good cohesive team.
Yes. And to your point about, you know, you and your fiance, you know,
He's a Cancer. He's a water sign as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the water signs in that, what are you, an earth sign? Is
Yes.
that Virgo? There you go. Water and earth. I mean, how cool is that? And how cool is it to learn? I never thought I would ever be able to have a healthy relationship in my life. You know, my boyfriend now, I have never had a relationship like this. You know, I mean, he is somebody who God led me to, no doubt. I mean, whatever God that is, like, oh my God, the hoops that we both had to jump through to find each other is insane. I mean, he lived all the way across the country. I lived, you know, in the Midwest, and I was over here in Massachusetts, and then he was in New Jersey, and then we, boom, in Nashua. And I just have never met a more selfless and, you know, caring, kind individual in my life. And I keep telling my sister, you know, you just got to wait for it because it will come. Like, I'm still waiting for my career to sort of blossom, I guess. And whatever you're going through, if you are insecure, which is not a bad thing, I'm insecure about everything all the time. But, you know, if you're having doubts about yourself because you don't have a partner yet, or if you're having doubts about yourself because you're feeling judged in where you are in your career, you're judging yourself, or any point in life that society tells you should be in a certain place, it's your life. You don't get to accept judgment from anybody. You know, it's you and your higher power, because we can. Worshiping our own egos has only worshiping my own ego has only led me into the ground. But, you know, we have the freedom to create a life for ourselves, and the only limits are in our own mind. I mean, truly, I say that with so much sincerity. The sky is the limit for everybody. You know, even if somebody shoots you down, tells you you're not good enough, tells you that, you know, you shouldn't even try, F them, because you are this deciding factor in where you're going to go in life, no matter where you came from.
That's right.
You could be anything you want.
I love you.
I'm like, I seriously, this has been my mindset since the new year.
Yeah.
I really tried to just tell me, and trust me, I wish I could like talk to myself like this. You know, I'm in the mirror, like, you got this. Like, no, you know. And so I just feel like it's important in our own, like, because the negative chatter in our heads. I was telling my mom,
And it's all a lie.
it's all a lie.
Mhm.
And you know what? I heard this cool thing on, I think it was like a podcast. It's like all this negative stuff. Would you talk to somebody else the way that you talk to yourself in your head? And I know we're running out of time here, but I feel like that's a cool thing to end on. Would you talk to somebody else the way you talk to yourself in your head?
Yeah, it's been a great show. The time just flew by.
I know, it really
flew
did.
by. Oh my goodness.
really did.
I love this.
I know.
We need to have you back. You're very inspirational. We like
Aw.
need to give you your own platform, I
Oh
think.
my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need a show for Claire. We'll get you going. Don't worry.
Aw,
But thank you for
sweet.
coming.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Honestly, you know, once the COVID pandemic is over
Mhm.
and we can have more people on set here, I would love to have you back and help me with some shows, because you're
Absolutely.
amazing and you are so
Aw.
inspirational and you are fierce.
Thank you.
You are. Thank
So
you for
are
being
you.
here
Oh my God.
tonight.
Thank you, Jasmine.
For everyone watching, thank you for sharing time with us. We love you. If you're struggling, if you need any help, any resources, please send a message to our Facebook page, I Am a Heroin Addict. If you've not done so yet, hop on Facebook and hop right over to I Am a Heroin Addict and give us a like. Also, if Claire has said anything tonight that has fired you up, or you're just like interested in connecting with Claire, please reach out to me on the Facebook page, I Am a Heroin Addict, and I'd be more than happy to connect you to her. Thank you so much and have a good night.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.